Adam Taxin here with Rabbi Nochum Kurinsky. Let's try to get the same height here. Hold on. We're very low budget here, but it's very substantive, worthwhile stuff. Okay, on that note, one topic which is in the news right now is Tiger Mom, which is a clever name for a Yale professor, I believe she is, Amy Chua. Yeah, and Amy Chua or Chow? Chua. And her husband, who's also a Yale professor, two smart people who, as Yale professors who reproduce with each other, have smart kids. But she's created a controversy by stepping into racial, religious categorization and saying some races and religions create smarter kids. And she specifically talked about Jews and Mormons and Indians, Chinese. Of course, there are about 100 different ethnicities of Indians. Chinese, which are diverse too. No, she didn't say Koreans. Iranians, which of course, if we go back to the Purim story, is a lot of different types of people as well, including
Christian Lebanese, as she mentioned.
Lebanese Americans, Nigerians. I don't know if she means Igbos or Yorubas or Muslims or Christians, and Cuban exiles, presumably all Catholic. I don't know, but some Cuban exiles are awfully dark. If you got what's his name? He used to pitch for the Phillies. He was as dark as anyone, or Raul Ibanez, who looks totally white. Anyhow, you're going to want to respond to some things here, but let's stick with two topics as starting off points. Are Jews even a race, or are they even a religion? What are Jews? And second of all, we're not going to be disingenuous and pretend that there's not a certain emphasis by observant Jews on education. We'll talk about that. So anyhow, the floor is yours.
Okay, well, first, as far as what are Jews? I mean, let's talk about what we're not. First, we're not a race.
You have red hair, I have dark hair. I imagine I tan a lot better, even though you live in Florida. I live up north.
My beard gets redder with the sun, and that's our. And look, we have in my synagogue we have people from Central American descent. We have people that are from people that are darker skin, lighter skin, people with all kinds of various different accents, different heights, different weights, different colors and tones. So the kind of idea that
there are a lot more diverse-looking Jews than you and I. And by the way, I was thinking of Jose Contreras. That's the Cuban, but anyhow, I digress. And
so we're certainly not a race. I think somebody once told me that Moses must have been black because we're traveling in the desert for all those years, and then we have a tradition that Moses' wife was black. So it's quite possible that the early Jews were a lot darker than us. So as far as us being a race, I mean, it's simply not true.
Oh yeah, one other thing I got to point out on the race issue is I got news for Amy Chua. Your kids aren't Jewish, even if your father is half Jewish. They may be half genetically Jewish, but Elvis, pretty much we can say, is no more than a quarter Jewish genetic material. Was Jewish.
Right. You can have a person can have a Jewish father. I know several people with Jewish on both sides, on the father's side, paternal side. Jewish on both sides. The mother's side, the mother's father is Jewish, so they'd be 3/4 genetically Jewish, and yet not Jewish because their mother's mother isn't Jewish, so they can have all the genetic markings of the Jew.
Dianne Feinstein, a lot of you don't like, there are plenty of liberal, left-wing Jews in Congress not to like, but she's not one of them. Her mother's mother was not Jewish. And by the way, I think de Blasio may be Jewish in New York.
I think I just read that Barack Obama's brother might be Jewish. So there's all kinds of people that are Jewish. And certainly we're not a religion because Judaism is very unique as far as the way we consider each other. Somebody, a synagogue goer, a non-synagogue goer, somebody who attends a Reform temple, a conservative temple,
a Buddhist temple,
a
Catholic church,
or consider themselves completely atheist. Mm-hmm. If they're Jewish, they're born Jewish, then they're a Jew. A Jew is a Jew. There's no difference between. A Jew can't be any more Jewish than the next Jew if they're actually Jewish. So
unless they convert.
Unless they convert to Judaism.
There's more Jewish, extra credit for them. Right?
There you go. So a convert to Judaism would be as Jewish, and the Torah warns us several dozen times to be kind to the convert. Judaism is certainly not a religion because more religious Jew and less religious Jew aren't any more Jewish. We're not a nationality because we come from all over the world. We are a wandering nation by definition.
Israel aside, but that's only over the last 100 years.
Right. Well, even Israel's always been it's the traditional, it's the biblical homeland and the source of Jewish people. But we lived outside of Israel a lot more than we lived in Israel. Mm-hmm. And a lot more of our population lived outside of Israel in Israel, and we're not any less Jewish. Most importantly, Jews that live in Israel are not any more Jewish than Jews that live out of Israel. So it doesn't make our nationality is certainly not a contributing factor to our Judaism.
And of course, the most Zionist Jews will not say that Israel is our original homeland because Abraham came from Iraq, basically.
Right. And it was
promised to us,
right.
But we're not originally from Israel.
We're not originally, we're from Canaan, or we're from...
No, we're not from Canaan, we're from Iraq.
From
Babylonia.
From the son of Shem's son was sent. Noah's Shem was sent to Canaan.
I was talking about Abraham.
Right, there you go, Abraham. Well, we keep going back to Israel as our home base and our homeland, but it's very different than having, as far as our spiritual connection to Israel and our inherent connection. We're the children of Israel. We literally consider Israel to be our mother. It's our holy country, but it's certainly not our nationality. And so there's very little that we have in common as Jews except for our souls. Mm-hmm. Our souls are. We have Jewish people are. We're connected spiritually. We come from the same spiritual source as the children of Yaakov, and that's not a biological thing, because as we said before, there are Jews that convert to Judaism, and a genuine convert to Judaism is as authentic a Jew as someone born to Jewish parents. So the connection that we have is really, it's on a spiritual level. And more than anything, we're a people. That's probably the people, or I've heard it said that we're a family. We're connected on a level. Runs a lot deeper than our nationality, than our race, than our religion, than our ethnicity, than our way of speaking, than our behaviors and our models that we have. The connection runs a lot deeper than that.
It's based on what happened in Sinai, at Mount Sinai, however many thousand years ago. That's the event. That's what makes someone.
3,300.
But hold on.